Hello, it's great to have the opportunity to speak to your conference today, albeit in a pre-recorded video message. And I'm sorry that I can't be with you in person. It's almost a year since I spoke to your organisation's Challenges and Change conference in Sydney. During that time, there have been many more challenges and sadly, not much change. So today, my message to you is simple. It's time to get tough on any person, organisation or company that is involved in supplying non-conforming building products, NCBPs, to Australian building projects. And your association has the knowledge, the respect to be a key driver for reform. We need new national laws from the border to the building site to inspect what products are being used. And we need penalties ranging from heavy fines to jail time for those in the supply chain that enable the use of NCBPs. The message needs to be clear. If you knowingly, recklessly enable a non-conforming building product to be installed anywhere in Australia, you will be held criminally liable. I instigated a Senate Economics References Committee inquiry into these products after the fire at La Crosse Apartments in Melbourne's Docklands in November 2014. Since then, other shocking cases have come to light, such as asbestos being found in the ceiling panels of the new Perth Children's Hospital. Submissions for the inquiry have closed, and in the past fortnight, public hearings have been held in Melbourne and Sydney, with a hearing in Adelaide at the end of this month. What I have seen and heard in the course of this inquiry should anger you. It should anger the nation. It's a national disgrace. We have poorly defined or lax laws. Non-conforming and non-compliant building products are entering the country with such ease that it's an Australian border farce. An interim report on these products involving asbestos has already been released, and the inquiry's final report is due in October. In the midst of this inquiry, the risks and dangers of non-conforming building products have made international headlines, all for the wrong and most terrible of reasons. I'm referring, of course, to last month's tragic Grenfell Tower fire in London, where 80 innocent children, women and men died and another 70 were injured. None of these people had any choice in what materials were used. Here in Australia, it's time for those who do make those choices to be held accountable. The Senate inquiry has heard detailed evidence about the problem with external aluminium cladding. According to information provided to the inquiry, the fire at London's Grenfell Tower was similar to the 2004 La Crosse Apartments fire in Melbourne. Both were clad in aluminium composite panels bonded together by a highly flammable polyethylene core, and they should not have been used in high-rise buildings. To be legally compliant in Australia, the aluminium cladding should have been bonded together by fire-resistant or non-combustible materials. Through incompetence or whatever reasons, lives were put at risk in Melbourne's Docklands. Furthermore, many hundreds of high-rise buildings throughout Australia are still believed to be covered in flammable cladding, including the La Crosse Apartments themselves. At an inquiry hearing in 2015, some 18 months ago, Melbourne Metropolitan Fire Brigade's Acting Deputy Chief Officer, Adam Dalrymple, said that fire safety should really not be a matter of good luck. The Brigade's subsequent submission described the La Crosse fire as a case study of regulatory failures. It said that the regulatory system does not ensure that stakeholders such as building surveyors, architects and builders comply with the requirements set out in the Victorian and National Building Regulatory Framework. It also said that the failures extend to other products such as non-compliant plasterboards and electrical wiring. These failings pose a serious risk to life and property, and the Metropolitan Fire Board believes that penalties for non-compliance should be severe. And Adam Dalrymple, 18 months on, again gave evidence in Melbourne 10 days ago. To say that he was disappointed at the lack of action would be a gross understatement. He referred to the Grenfell tragedy in these terms. La Crosse for us was a bit of a wake-up call. Since then, I believe the regulators have been rubbing the sleep out of their eyes, and with this tragic event, Grenfell, everyone has woken up, albeit some 2.5 years later after we've had a similar event in our own backyard. I cannot preempt what the Senate inquiry's final report will contain in October. I can promise, however, that I will test the resolve of the elected members on the floor of the Senate with legislation to deal with this inexcusable, dangerous and regrettable situation. I will, of course, consult with you to determine the best and most effective way forward. I note that the Queensland Government is proposing tough new state laws to crack down on the use of non-conforming and non-complying building products by having real responsibility and obligations in the supply chain. These laws should be rolled out nationally. Under the changes, the Queensland Government regulator will be empowered to do a number of things: to audit and inspect buildings that are not active building sites, enter a site to collect samples of products for testing, require supply chain participants to produce information about alleged non-conforming building products, direct rectifications of unsafe buildings and sites, declare a building or site unsafe, prosecute offences relating to supplying or installing a non-conforming building product, and recall these products and issue public warnings about them. So in summary, the Senate inquiry has just revealed the tip of the iceberg of this incredibly serious issue. It has heard a litany of evidence which describe a haphazard, piecemeal and lacklustre approach to non-conforming and non-complying building products. The building and construction industry accounts for 8% of Australia's GDP and employs around 9% of the workforce. This industry creates the places in which we live, work and play. We need a healthy industry free of danger, free of scandal, and free of the slightest perception of incompetence or regulatory laziness. The time has now come to learn from our mistakes and create a legislative framework that gives the building and construction industry the respect it needs and which gives the Australian people the safety they deserve. Thank you and good luck with your conference.